So in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up Open WebUI in order to run your local LLMs. And the hope is eventually then you can import your own Zotero library or work with other APIs, but let's get the basics set now. So there's three components and I've got tabs open for all of these. So Open WebUI is the interface that you'll use, and I'll show you in a minute how it works, to the open models that you're running locally. And the local models are going to be run with Ollama, and Docker is what's going to kind of hold it all together. So it's kind of like a virtual machine. So it's able to run Open WebUI and make calls out to Ollama. So some of that might not make sense, but let's go ahead and get started. So Ollama.com takes you here. This is how you can run local models. You don't need to use Open WebUI, but it's a really nice way. You can also just use a command prompt and things. So we're going to come here. We're going to hit download, Windows. This is for Windows. Everything that I do here works on Mac as well. So you can basically follow the exact same steps and it's not going to make a lick of difference. So 900 megabyte download, and I'm going to go ahead and just open that and install. Okay, so you can see Ollama is now running. We're just going to click here to get started. So Ollama is by itself is based on the command prompt. There's other ways you can interface with it. But basically, the way you're going to get models, and I'll kind of come back and we'll pick some later, is to come to the Models tab. And then you can pick, for example, Qwen 3 is quite popular. And you can come in, you can copy this code out here. So this is Ollama run Qwen 3. And if you go back to a command prompt and you put Ollama run Qwen 3, it's going to go ahead and download it for you. Notice with all these models, it's not like ChatGPT where you're picking the model and that's it. Here you pick the model, but then there's also different sized ones. The way that you want to think about this is how big of a download is how much virtual memory or video memory you have, or if you don't have a video card, unified memory, like in a Mac that you have. So if you have a smaller graphics card, a model like 5.2 gigabytes is going to be perfect. I think I have 24 gigabytes of video memory on this computer, and so I could do a larger model. That is proportional to a balance of quality and speed. So smaller models are going to run faster. They're just going to be more lightweight, lower quality. But what we're finding, or what I'm finding, is that as every model comes out, they're able to do much more with fewer parameters. So smaller models are becoming more capable. And that's kind of the hope, right? Is that we don't have to have as much power consumptions and things to run really good models. So you can see it's just going out and it's grabbing all the components of the Qwen 3 model that I chose, which is just the base one. So it's a 5.2 gigabyte model. And then when it's done, we should be able to interact with it. We'll just let it load. So now we're in Ollama here on the command prompt. So I can say, what is a good recipe for pasta? And there you go. You can see how quick models are when they're running locally. It's completely different than when you're running them off the web. But for us, we're just going to go by, /by. And we're back to the command prompt. So we've got Ollama running on our computer. We've got a model downloaded. And this could be it. Like if you just want to work off the command prompt, this is a perfectly valid way to do it. And you can just type Ollama and you can kind of get into it that way. What Open WebUI does, though, is it gives us a web interface that's hosted locally. So we're going to need two parts for this. One, we're going to need Docker. It just makes it easier. It runs containers on your computer. Docker Desktop is a free download. So download the AMD64 version. And if you're running this on a work computer, you might want a license. So from my work computer, I have a license because this is my personal machine at home. And so for this, you don't need to pay. You can use it for free on our computer. So we'll let this install. And basically Open WebUI, when we go to it, we're going to have two parts. So one part is going to be the component that actually runs Open WebUI, and the second part is going to be an updater. And what the updater does is essentially every 5 minutes, it just checks, hey, is there an updated version of Open WebUI? And if it is, it goes and does the updates for you. So then you don't have to worry about updating Open WebUI yourself. What I like about Open WebUI also is that you can run multiple models at the same time and see how they operate. So we've got Docker now. We're going to come over here. We're going to run Docker. Just make sure that it's doing its thing, accept the terms. I'm going to skip that just to show, and I'm going to skip that. So then you can see, yeah, if you sign in, you can get additional features, but you don't have to. So yeah, now we have that running. And then if we go to Open WebUI and get Open WebUI, it's going to open up their documentation, which I actually like to go here. It's just a little bit easier. So if you scroll down, the quick start's what you want to do. So if Ollama's on your computer, you can use that. If you want NVIDIA support, you can use this version. I do have NVIDIA's graphics card, so I'm going to take this, and you can just copy that command out. And then you can, two ways you can run that. One, you can come back to the command prompt, or in Docker, you can also open up the terminal here, and then you have to enable it. And then we're going to run Docker with the command that they gave. And it's going to go and download the whole thing for you, which will actually take a little bit because there's one of these, I think that's, yeah, pretty big, 4 gigabytes. So what this is doing is it's basically given all the parameters for Open WebUI that you want, and it's told kind of where to go get it. And so now it's just going and essentially downloading an image of that. And then it's going to take that, put it into a container, and then the container is going to run on its own, and it's not going to interact with other things. And then we can interact with that through the web browser, through the localhost. So it's actually quite effective. Open WebUI also, you can connect all the APIs to ChatGPT, to Claude, any of those. So you can have your local models and you can have the paid models through the same interface. I find that I still use the Claude app and the ChatGPT app. I don't know, it's a habit at this point, I guess. But just know that you can have them all in one thing. And that's very, very helpful. So this won't take actually too much longer. And the benefit to doing all of this locally is that no data leaves your computer. So no data that you put in is going to be used in other models, training, anything like that. Everything is going to stay secure on your own computers. Essentially, you can disconnect from the internet completely just to convince yourself that it's not using any models off of your computer. And you should be able to do everything perfectly fine. Not the API calls, like if you have a ChatGPT or something set up in it, but everything else should work fine. And what you're going to probably find is that you do what I do, and you try a whole bunch of models on Ollama, and you kind of figure out what you like and what you don't like. So now we have a container, Open WebUI, and there's an ID, and then there's how you can interact with it. So once it's up and running for a few seconds, it takes a little bit. We're going to click this, and it's going to get us to the localhost, which is going to then be able to connect to Ollama. And yeah, so I click this, we might need to restart it, but oh yeah, there we go. So this is actually running locally. So this is not on the web at all. And when you get started, you can, well, I'll just do here, name, Hubbard, email, and a password. We create an account, and every time you update it or anything, it's going to tell you what's new. Lots of stuff new all the time. They're doing a great job with this, and everything that I'm showing you is free. So you can see it's already connected to Ollama, and it's pulled the list of models that it has. So we have Qwen 3, the latest, the 8.2 billion parameter model. That's the one that we installed over here. So you can see Qwen 3. So anytime you want to add a model, essentially you come back to Ollama, you find the model that you want. So Gemma 3 is actually really good. I like this one. And we can grab like the 27 billion parameter model and copy that. And then we could come back here, and while I'm doing all this other stuff, we can kickstart the download there. You can see it's a 17 gigabyte. So if you don't have a graphics card or unified memory that's 17 gigabytes, just know it might crawl. You want to pay attention to this number because that's what it's going to try to load into memory. But yeah, so we can come back here. Earlier we asked what's a great idea for a pasta recipe, so we can do that here. What's a good idea for a pasta? I can never spell. Apologize. I can't even get it. Dish. It's fine. And so now it has to load up Qwen 3, and it's a thinking model. So here you can see how it's thinking, and then you can see all the parts, the stuff that's needed, customization tips and things. So it's really fast. It's a really good way to do things. So what is the sky blue? And it does its little thinking. Nice thing, you can always click on that, and then it gives you the answers out. Again, the beauty is all of this is run locally. So that gives us a pretty good starting point. I will really quickly show that if you start a new chat and you click plus, I don't know if this one works, but we should be able to run and run 2 models at once. And yeah, so here you can see it's going to run the arena model, which I don't know what that is. I've never actually seen that, and Quen 3. And so then you can see here's 2 different models, and this could be through an API. This could be 2 models you have on your own computer, but this will give you a really, really straightforward way of looking and saying, okay, I want to run a deep thinking model that's going to take time, and it's going to, show all the way it's thinking at the same time that you run something lightweight, and then you can see the differences. So this is a really helpful way. You can come in and you can add as many models really as you want. And yeah, anytime you want to create a new chat, you just new chat, and then you can remove the models or change the models. So that is the basics of getting Open WebUI running. So again, we have Ollama running, and this is what is running the local models. Ollama.com has all the models that are available to run, and it's really easy to add them. You just, like I said, you pick one, and then you can just copy this code up here and then use that in a command prompt, and you'll install that model. Docker is what's running Open WebUI. So you get that running, and you just follow their quick start. In order to do the update real quick, so automatic updates, you can just come and you can copy this and come back into Docker and go to the terminal and just paste that in there. And then it's going to go and grab the latest versions of that. It's super fast. And then you can see here's the watchtower. And then this is going to start every time as well. And you'll see like in 5 minutes, it would be ready to update. So it's not, when you open up Docker, when you start Open WebUI, it's not going to check for updates immediately. It's going to wait 5 minutes. Then it's going to check for an update. So if you open it up, you want to do some stuff before it checks, that's perfectly fine. Mostly what I'm seeing is you don't need the updates all the time on Open WebUI. It's pretty stable, but I just leave this running here. So the watchtower is what's checking for updates. Open WebUI is what's running there. And if you ever need to shut them down, you just come and click stop, and that'll kill the watchtower. That'll kill Open WebUI. And then, like I can show you can always just restart them. So once they kind of flush out, then you can just come back and click start. Always, if you're opening up this local host with port 3000, if it doesn't show up straight away, just wait a minute, because sometimes it takes a little while for Open WebUI to launch. So you can click here, and yeah, I'm right back into it, but it doesn't mean it would have happened that way. So excellent. So that concludes the video. All right. Good luck with everything.